Hey everybody, it's Steve with Sky194, and I appreciate you taking the time to visit my channel and check out my video, and I hope you're having a good day. And we are here at Spa in the CP server, and it's going to be definitely a little bit different video, so I hope you stick with me and hope you like it. Basically, I'm going to just show a few laps of the CP race. It was a mess. And then we're going to go over, just show again a hot stint and all that, and we're just gonna. You're pretty much. I got a setup for pretty much the whole thing. I mean, I got a setup for the rain, a setup for the hot stint for a race, and I have a setup for a qualifying. So basically, all three for the Lamborghini here at Spa. A really good start. And here, I didn't have the rain setup, so I got late getting it finished, and it ended up throwing me to the pits because I couldn't get it done in time. And of course, then you had the pit stop, so I wanted to see, get that set too. And which I qualified fifth, but I really wasn't overly worried just because I wasn't sure how good the setup would be, and I'm doing changes, and I also wasn't. I know there's always carnage and all this stuff, especially going up a Rouge and going, the first corner up there after the Rouge. So I wasn't in a major rush to get all that, but still it was my fault. I still probably could have done even better if I would have just started where I was supposed to. But anyway, so we're going to go over the highlights show a few laps, and then at the end, I'll go ahead and go through all the setups at one time, so we're not going back and forth. And then I will put the links to all the setups down in the description. And but again, I'll just show, a couple laps here. The track was treacherous, and it was flooded about halfway through the race. See this guy, he probably didn't see me coming, so he didn't, I'm trying to get around him. Puddles everywhere, and like I said, it was flooded, and the rain got heavier, so it was just literally treacherous. The setup was a lot better than I thought. The only thing it needs, I don't remember if I did it before I got out of this or not, but if not, we can adjust it, is it just needs to be raised a little more, because I was hydroplaning pretty bad in a few places, and that's what actually wrecked me a couple times. I actually hit the wall and still finished decent, for starting in pit lane. So I think the setup is for the Lamborghini, which I've never had really good luck in the rain with the Lamborghini. I actually thought it did pretty well. It held its own, and a lot of guys. It was pretty treacherous. So as you can see, Black Eye's in there, Mercer's in there, Antonio's in there, Sir Cliff, Miguel, Bowman. There's a lot of guys that I usually race with. They're in there. Mercer. Don't remember racing him too much, but he was really good. So again, a lot of decent guys that definitely were very respectable and very fast in their dry or the rain, really. Especially Black Eye in the rain. He's as tough in the rain as he is in the dry. But again, to show a few laps. I don't know where my fast lap was. I think I've already done it. I don't even know where it is. See, look at it. He just slid side. He just lost it going up a Rouge. See, and it right there is a really bad puddle. That's what wrecked me later in the race. Right there. Literally just hydroplane, and you were just going for a ride no matter what you did. There was a pit stop, so we got tires, so I even had fresher tires later. It's just that, like I said, I raised the car up a little bit over the wet setup, but it needs to be raised even more for the heavy rains. So anyway, like I said, it wasn't the greatest of races anyway. So, but I figured where I finished 4th, I think, or 5th, something like that. But, so at least I got back to where I started. So it's still a good outcome for starting in pit lane. And the car was damaged at the end too, since I wrecked a couple times, hit the wall. So I just brought it home and got it done. So we'll go ahead now and go ahead into the hot stint, and we'll check that out. I decided we're going to go ahead and show the qualifying, just the one lap of the qualifying next. And as you can see here, we have the 12 liters left. So I still had a decent amount. I have 2 laps worth of fuel left. I think there's enough on here for the qualifying setup to do like 4 or 5 laps at the most. So that way you don't have to go out and you can get kind of up to speed. And then, once, also traffic, when you got everything set, you can let it rip. So we're just going to do this one lap here. And then we'll go ahead and go to the hot stint last. And then we'll go over the setups. And I still think, the 219.0, but I still think we could, it'll go faster after we do this lap. There's a few places that I just kind of, like right there, didn't get a good drive, a little bit sloppy there. And there's a few places, and we'll go over the setup where you might be able to pick up even more. But it's solid going up a Rouge. I mean, it's really solid for a qualifying setup to go through there. Lamborghini felt really good here at Spa. It's got pretty much qualifying and the race setup. Really, I was really hoping to have a good race, but then the weather threw a monkey wrench into that one. Right here, I got into it a little bit too hot, and you can see the car slide a little bit right there. That cost me a little bit, and it made it run wide. So I know that cost a little bit there too, but I saved it, but still. Love the sound of that Huracan. It's amazing how different it feels compared to the Ferrari. It's definitely probably one of some of the information I got is basically one of the heavier cars. It feels heavier. You wouldn't think so, but it is. It's one of the heavier cars. That was a 218.66. I still had 7 liters left, so you could cut it down a little bit. And like I said, we'll go over that at the setup, some things that you can do. So let's go ahead and go through the hot stint now and just go over a couple laps with that. Okay, now we're here at the hot stint. And as you can see, I have 73 liters still on. I started with 80 something, or 80 or 80. I don't know if I had 80 or even a little more, because it takes, I think, 84 or something like that liters, or 86 to do a 45-minute stint. I mean, the V10's thirsty here at Spa. So, so let's go over this lap here. Let's jump in the car. I'll show this lap, and then I'll show the lap at the end. Just trying to show how the car handled, basically how I took the lines I take and things like that, and then we'll go over all the setups. good. Had very good pace for the whole 30 minutes. I was really happy with the pace of it. You know, very consistent for me with the Huracan. That was a 219.68. I think it was my fast lap. And then we'll go over the lap before. Which, let me see, that's... This is the last lap I kind of messed up. So really not showing what the car is capable of doing. So we'll do the lap before that. It was a better lap. Again, I was trying to push and made a couple mistakes. Now let's turn on the HUD. That was a 220.03 the last lap. Still not terrible, you know, as far as consistency. It's only about 3 or 4 tenths off of my fast, so. I know this video is going to be definitely a lot longer than normal, but like I said, this one, you know, basically is a really good package as far as covering all your bases for the rain or qualifying and for a hot stint. I mean, it really is really solid in all 3 areas. Always can be improved upon, but I mean, it's a good, really good starting point. Of course, I hope you give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel. It really would help, and especially, you know, like I said, not real big, so I really would appreciate any support. Any comments are always welcome also. And I do have a PayPal account in the description also. If you want to help support the channel, I really would appreciate it. And thank you to everybody that has. It's been awesome, and I just want to say thank you. Any little bit is always appreciated. So just want to say thank you. decent lap. The last lap, like I said, it was more driver error than the car. I just kind of messed up. That was a 219.87. So still, like I said, it's only like 3/10 off my fast. So that's pretty good, getting near right near the end of the 30 minutes. So let's go ahead and go over the setup so you can check all those out. Alrighty, here we go over the qualifying first. That's what, and I got it at SKY 6.1Q, and that stands for the qualifying. And we got 26.5 on the front tires, 25.8 for the rear tires. The toe is negative 0.05 with the camber at negative 3.8 and the caster at 12.5 on the front. On the rear, the toe is 0.12 with the camber at negative 3.1. Electronics are 2 and 4. That's knocked them down a little bit over the standard setup. Again, trying to get some more performance. Of course, I only have 21 liters on it. That's just a good starting point. You can go whatever you want. Mechanical, I got 6 on the anti-roll bar, 57 on the brake bias. Steering ratio is turned all the way down. The springs in the front should be this. I think they're the same for both. They're 201,000. With a 1,000 bump stop rate and a 3 bump stop range. On the rear, I think I did change the springs. They are a little different. 164,000, and the bump stop rate is 600, and the bump stop range is 20. Anti-roll bar is 4, and the preload on the diff is 50, which I think I changed that also. Both of those, I think one or both of those are changed. Shocks are 16, 18, 24, and 22 on the front, and 18, 19, 20, and 21 on the rear. Aero is 57 in the front, 62 in the rear with a 7 rear wing and a 2 and a 2 in the brake ducts. And the front aero variation is a 0.9 to the positive. So that is the qualifying setup. So let's go ahead and go to the wet setup. So the wet setup, I got started here with, of course, depending upon your temperatures, I got 29 all the way around. I actually went up to 29 and over 29 and a half on my pit stop in that race. So the toe on the front is negative 0.12 with the camber at negative 3.3 and the caster at 12. On the rear, the toe is 0.2 with the camber at negative 2.6. And again, that's to get more tire on the ground. So because you're not going that fast through the corners anyway, so trying to keep enough tire to get the water out. Electronics, I got 6, 10, and 5. Of course, fuel, I had 70 liters with the number 3 brake pad, and that actually worked out really well. So mechanical, got the 4 on the anti-roll bar, 53 on the brake bias. Steering ratio is turned all the way down still. Springs on the front are 144,000 with a bump stop rate of 900 and the bump stop range of 10. And on the rear, the springs are 136,000 with a bump stop rate of 800 and a bump stop range of 40. The anti-roll bar is 1 and the preload on the diff is 90, which definitely helps you in all the slick conditions. The shocks in the front are 10, 8, 12, and 14. And on the rear, they're 11, 15, 13, and 14. Aero, I have 62 in the front, 64 in the rear with a 10 rear wing and a 2 and a 2 in the brake ducts. And again, I did raise this up just a teeny bit more, just one click more. It was at 61, so it was there, which is basically 0 on your front aero variation. But then I just raised it up one to maybe help a little bit with the hydroplaning. But I mean, if it's not heavy flooded rain, you might be able to go back down to that. So that's just yours, or you might be able to leave it there, and I would try knocking this down 1 in the wing like that. That's what I would probably do. I'd probably leave it like this to keep the balance there under brakes and things, and just knock the wing down 1. So that's what I would try, and then you can make your adjustments of how you would like it, how it feels to you. But I mean, it gives you a good base, a good start. Just remember that. And of course, I'll save it. And now let's go over the race setup. And we'll start with the tires, 26.5 again. I try to keep those all the same so you don't get so confusing between the two when you're doing that. You know, they should work either way. 25.8, of course, for the rear. The toe is negative 0.05 with the camber at negative 3.7 and a caster at 12.5. On the rear, the toe is 0.12 with the camber at negative 3. So again, I just a little bit more negative camber on the qualifying setup, but just a teeny bit. Electronics are 3 and 5. Again, a little bit more reserve. Of course, fuels, you see I had 86 liters, so it's usually more than that. Usually I only do 80, but I was doing the 86 because that's what it would take to do a 45-minute race. Mechanical, 6 on the anti-roll bar, 58 on the brake bias. Steering ratio is turned all the way down. Those springs in the front are 201,000 with a 1,000 bump stop rate and a 3 bump stop range. And on the rear, the springs are 154,000 with a 600 bump stop rate and a 20 bump stop range. The anti-roll bar is 4 and the preload on the diff is 60. The shocks are 16, 18, 24, and 22 on the front, and 18, 19, 20, and 21 on the rear, with the aero at 57 in the front, 60 in the rear with a 6 rear wing and a 2 and a 2 in the brake ducts. So again, in the front aero variation is a 1.1. So again, I mean, a lot of this all depends upon the fuel load and how things are going to happen when the fuel load comes off. And, then that's how you you try to set it up and still have the performance and things like that. So again, the ride heights, I mean, a lot of things are different on all the setups. And I really think they're I think they're good setups. I mean, good solid setups that are driver friendly that you can drive, all 3 of them really, for the Lamborghini. And I was very happy with the performance as far as the consistency of the car. I thought it was very good, and I think it's a good good place to start off of, and you can make a couple little adjustments, however, to make it fit your needs and fit what you need. Of course, the brake ducts and tires. Of course, with the qualifying and the race setup, I always have it at mid-20s with low wind. That's always how I set all my setups up, so to try to keep them consistent. So if you're in a race and that is different, then you have to adjust it accordingly between the brake ducts and the tire temperatures. But you should be able to do each tire equally up or down, so that should that way there should be set to the right on around the mid-27s. So I sure hope you enjoyed this video, and a thumbs up and any support. Subscribed would be great, and I sure hope any comments from all my friends. I really enjoy talking with all of you, and any suggestions or any things you all would like to see is always appreciated, and I sure hope you come back and visit again. Y'all take care. See ya.